It's almost like we're stepping back to the 1400s again, where only one set of dogmatic thought was allowed and anything outside that was, strictly dealt with. Common sense is now in question itself. It's not even about truth anymore. It's just about issues that are affecting us and our ability to feed our families and protect our communities. I mean, these are such the most basic issues that a first grader could talk about, but we're not allowed to. Hey, how's the sky's blue today, isn't it, Charlie? Oh no, blue's subjective. You can't talk about blue skies. How dare you?
Well, what shade of blue is it?
Is there even a sky?
I was doing an interview with Dr. Moore last year, and he just mentioned, masks and COVID, and I got my first warning, and, those never go away on. But
I wake up one day, there's 280 of my videos gone. Like, what the heck?
Really?
Yeah, demonetized. You can remove them or you can leave them on, but 280 in a single day hit. And I was like, whoa. So then I did all the manual reviews for them and they all came back. No. So they're off on a different side catalog now. Like, to get hit that many in one day, that's like a purposeful targeting of a channel. That's not just like one single, okay, maybe there's some erroneous thoughts in there. You wake up one day and that many are done, and then, it reroutes you. So I found different venues, like going down one route and trying to talk about these issues. It's not even about truth anymore. It's just about issues that are affecting us and our ability to feed our families and protect our communities. I mean, these are such the most basic issues that a first grader could talk about, but we're not allowed to, or it's verboten, as they would say, to talk about such issues. And I just don't get it. Like, not being able to maintain your nut species of tree because of borer beetles that could have been taken care of, but they were let run wild when they could have been cut off at the source, but they were allowed to spread without any intervention. For me, that's a problem. And then to talk about it, we should be able to talk about how to control borer beetles that are destroying forests, but even you cross over that line, then they're like, no, you can't talk about that. It was a U.S. Forest Service thing. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So where do we sit? Hey, how's the sky's blue today, isn't it, Charlie? Oh, it's great blue sky.
Yeah.
Oh no, blue's subjective. You can't talk about blue skies. How dare you? It could be a different,
Well, what shade of blue is it?
Is there even a sky?
It's debatable.
It's in La La Land a lot of times, What was considered the most common sense of common sense is now in question of even what thought is. Debating what was considered your own thought of what just the average operating system in a human would consider common sense is now in question itself. So
I think it's good, though, to have an open dialogue, to not have a narrative that everybody must live by. I mean, whether you agree with the other people or not, whether you even agree with your own opinion sometimes. I mean, I like talking to a lot of people, a diverse group of people. And, if there's something that I had felt strongly about and a conversation makes me doubt that, either it's going to change my opinion or it's going to cause me to go back and research it more and understand it better. And that's how society has developed over years. Differences of opinions, people either, changing their minds about something or going back and researching further and finding more information, or, discovering further through scientific methods. But we've kind of stopped that as a society, and you can't talk about X, Y, and Z, or, you're conspiracy theorists. Well, I mean, it doesn't have to come down to that. Maybe, there were some bad policies made in the past that we can go back and reflect on and focus on how we don't make that happen in the future. But if we can't even have the conversation, progress never comes.
Well, that kind of adds into it. We're at the end of this iteration of what you consider civilization or society. The Great Reset is there for a purpose, and they gave you the word reset because what was considered this older society of the way it worked, the mechanisms up to this point has stopped, where it's done, clip it. It's kind of like clipping off, dead branches at the end of the season. We're pruning, if you will. So the way humanity moves forward from this point, it's going to be a new era, literally a new era, where perhaps old thinking like that is not going to be included in the new era. But again, when you're talking about stifling progress, it's almost like we're stepping back to the 1400s again, where only one set of dogmatic thought was allowed, and anything outside that was, strictly dealt with. For a time, it took a couple hundred years before it was, the scientific method came back in again. For me, I'm looking at it as a civilization reset cycle too. In addition to what we're seeing right now, there's going to be all these other subsets of resets in there, from the economy to the food to the immigration, the migration, I should say the free movement of peoples around the world, whatever form that might take. There's going to be so many variables within that. But in terms of just a general structure, it's like the civilization's being reset back to a base form again, which to build off of, because everything has run its course. There's really nowhere else for growth to occur. And you've covered this more than I have on, factory acquisitions, real estate boom. I mean, everything's starting to crash. Like, you're more versed in the real estate, but I think we are kind of at the end of this cyclic pattern where it really can't go much further. So it'll be collapsed on purpose in order to restart a new system, which have, 100 years of growth included into it. But it is like a forest fire, all completely overgrown, tangled in there. You can't even move an inch inside because it's too twisty and wiry in there. Burn it all down, and you could just walk freely through it. So it seems like that's happening with our society.